So hi, I'm Evan with POS Portal, and this is the Merchant Discovery webinar. Oh, so there I am. So, I'm the product manager here at POS Portal, and P2's my product. So I'm going to be doing the demonstration today. Shobit will be adding in some information as we move along. Shobit works on our app development or our app team. So, you'll be in contact with him if you have any questions about apps or things like that. So I want to give a little bit of information about Merchant Discovery, and I'll actually pass it off to Shobit so he can give us a little detail information, a little background about Merchant Discovery.
Hey everyone, this is Shobit. Thanks for joining our webinar today. As Evan mentioned, Merchant Discovery, the feature is a small part of, though very critical part of our CRM solution. And as we've been working with a lot of ISOs and acquirers trying to solve their business needs, we realized that a common problem that existed in the industry was leads and how leads were getting originated. Was everybody getting exclusive leads? And then there was this whole, I would say the old school way of finding out leads, depending on buying dumps of lists from certain providers. And then once you had those, you just had to blindly go out and start calling them or even cold calling them. We knew that was a problem, and as our approach for the Merchant Discovery product, we felt that, hey, now we are in the world of where we can search and discover a lot more things depending on what we want. If we can somehow bring that edge into discovering merchants, that would be great as well. And that's what the Merchant Discovery product does. It lets the user use keywords like delis, Chinese restaurants, dry cleaners, use those keywords to find out merchants, get merchant information. So now you no longer need to depend on knowing the SIC code or the NAICS code, which, it's pretty confusing, very hard to remember. And then there is very little filters that you can put when you are using the SIC code. We'll show you how Merchant Discovery can actually give you an edge in terms of your knowledge about a certain geography, your knowledge about certain segments. We know every sales rep out there has their own niches in terms of merchants that they're servicing. So we wanted the reps, the agents, to use that knowledge, to use their domain experience in also discovering new leads and also getting information about new merchants. So that's what our product does. We do use data from multiple sources. One of the main sources is Infogroup, which I've realized is the predominant provider of data for anyone out there. We talk about Salesgenie, referenceUSA, all the usual sources of data that everybody relies on. Infogroup is the source of data. They have over 14 million US businesses that they can give you data for. So we primarily depend on them. But as we'll show you, the critical feature of using keywords, we also rely on some other sources of data, which is giving us the ability to use keywords and discover merchants.
Great. Thanks, Shobit. And so, guys, we're going to jump in here and show you the Merchant Discovery feature in just a second, and we'll come back to this page in a moment, kind of discuss some of the plans and the pricing. So, guys, this Merchant Discovery product, really came to be because, we wanted a way to let agents to, say, for example, I'm an agent and I'm in a new community and I don't know who else to call on. Like Shobit kind of talked about with SIC codes, that's not the most ideal way to search around you, to search for new merchants in your area. So what our Merchant Discovery product does is, we wanted to come up with a way to allow you to say, for example, you're sitting in your car outside of a strip mall and you know an address or a current location where you are, and you want to discover what merchants were around you and you want to pull some additional information. That's really the key piece. Having a product that's location aware, that knows where it is and is able to kind of help you discover merchants nearby. So here we are on the home screen of P2. And again, for anybody who's interested in learning more about P2, let us know. We'd be happy to show you a in-depth demonstration. But here on the top, there's a tab called Merchant Discovery. I'm going to go and click into Merchant Discovery. So Merchant Discovery, again, like Shobit mentioned, is powered by, in part, from Infogroup and Infogroup API. So we're very clear that this data isn't POS Portal's data, right? It comes from some outside third-party data sources. we're just kind of aggregating it and allowing you to search it. So if you notice here, there's a couple boxes. One is search method. There's lots of ways to use merchant discovery. One of the most common ways is to use your current location. So you can see that's where we are right now. This is our headquarters in Sacramento, California. You can also select things like street address, intersection, neighborhood, city and state, and postal code. So like Shobit was mentioning, this is a big difference compared to what most people are doing when they're searching like Salesgenie and other kind of lead lists, where they're using SIC codes or some sort of classification number that's much more broad. This allows you to search by a location, which I think is much more compelling, much more powerful. So you can also do things like select a postal code, which is what we're going to do today. Now, once I select a postal code, you notice that the search criteria boxes change a little bit. So say, for example, maybe I knew a street address. It's going to ask for the specific street address plus a keyword. It's always looking for a keyword. So let's go ahead and do postal code. So I'm going to go ahead and put a postal code in. And this is one that I've searched a couple times, so there will be some other responses in here, and I'll show you those in just a second. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in keyword for bars. Now obviously you could search whatever keyword you wanted here. You can leave it very broad. I recommend leaving the keyword broad in the beginning because you can refine the search using additional keywords. So once you put in the main keyword, you go ahead and click New Search, and it's going to go ahead and produce a search of quite a few different responses or return different results for your criteria here. So I'm going to pass it off to Shobit, who can talk about kind of how you refine the search and where these terms are coming from, because these aren't terms that we created. They're just terms that are available to help you refine the search.
And just going back to the fact that why Evan used bars, Evan spent a lot of his time selling merchant services, and I mentioned that sales reps have their own niches, their own kind of market, and I believe that was Evan's niche. Yeah. He could sell merchant services to any bar that he would walk into. But just adding to the keyword part, as I mentioned that we use different sources of data, and the other source of data, the hybrid that we've created is the one that gives us the ability to use a keyword and then even tailor it down to bars and clubs, brew pubs, carry out, catering. If you want to really do a very deep dive into the database, or you could just use the keyword, say bars or dry cleaners or delis, smoke shops, and go ahead and do the search.
Great, thanks Shobit. And it's important, guys, to remember that different keywords are going to bring up different different keywords to help you refine the search. So if I were to put maybe restaurants in here, this keyword drop down would be much different based on what I'm doing here with the specific keyword. So, a couple things to do here, guys, so let's pay attention here. So, if you see here that I've pulled up a list of a bunch of different merchants within the criteria that I put in of 81301 within the postal code. If you notice here that in the list, there's some that have blank check boxes. Now, I can check them and create leads with them. Some of them I've already had leads created with them, and that's where you see the word merchant with an underline. Now, if you see that, that means that you can click on that link and it will take you directly to that merchant's record that's already been created. But in this example, we want to create a new one to show you how a new lead is created from merchant discovery. Now, there's a couple buttons over here on the right. You can see search, map, and website. Now, the first one we're going to click in is search. It's going to open another tab, and it's actually going to go ahead and just search that merchant for you, right? So it's going to Google them. We Googled the Orr House. This is kind of confirming all the different information about the Orr House, showing you where they are. Everything looks good, right? So this is an accurate representation, or this is the accurate information about this merchant. Now you also see over here that there's a map link. You can click on map, and it's actually going to drop it onto Google Maps and show you exactly where the merchant location is, including a street view. Maybe you need to get some directions, right? So you can use this interface here. It takes you directly into Google Maps. You also have a website link. So if there was a website listed in the merchant information that we pulled up through our merchant discovery tool, it's going to take you directly to their website. So you just quickly click directly into the website. So what happened here is you have the ability then to do some additional research about the merchant before you actually create the lead. Now there's a unique kind of nuance to once you click this box and create the lead, and I'm going to have Shobit explain that in a second. But what I want to do is I want to show you guys that you can come in and you can select multiple merchants that you want to create lead records with. You don't have to just do one, right? But kind of the best use case or best example of how you would use our product is that you would click into search, map, and website and kind of evaluate it, make sure it's a good lead before you created an actual lead record in P2 with it, right? Or you might know specifically that that is the merchant that you were trying to get information on because maybe you put in the exact street address and it pulled up the exact merchant that you were looking for data in or data on, because that's an important thing to realize. You don't have to just search with a big broad criteria. You might know a very specific address that you want to put in, and you want information about that merchant because you want to go in and cold call. So I want to make sure we point that out. So in this particular example, I've checked the box. Now Shobit's going to kind of explain the difference in how what we're doing when we do the checkbox and create a lead, and the different API calls that we're doing with the different actions here.
So a few reasons why Evan pointed out that we suggest that you can do some additional search before you actually create a lead, because the way the pricing for this tool works is you pay for each lead you're pulling, which you would do for any other lead source as well. But there you still do not have a lot of freedom, but this one here gives you the ability to search more, because as soon as you check the box and say create lead, there is the counter goes up by 1 for the number of leads you've pulled. So we've given you some additional features to make sure that that is the exact lead you want to pull. And one more thing that it does is, once you've checked the box and you create a lead, now all of us have existing portfolios as well, and there is a possibility, a very strong possibility, that some of these new merchants that are showing up, we already have them in our CRM system as existing merchants. So what Merchant Discovery does is that it does a dupe check. It checks for duplicates, and it uses the name of the business, the street address, to make sure if there are any existing matches. If there are, what the tool is going to do is, instead of saying merchant like you see on the screen right now, it will tell you, or it will warn you that there is a possible duplicate, and then you can see, oh, hey, this merchant, I'm already they're already doing business with me, and I do not need to really get more information on that. So you can save, that ding that I mentioned earlier about the number of leads you've pulled.
And that's a great point, Shobit. And also, guys, we set up P2 to allow you to meter out the different amounts of leads that you give your reps, right? So that those types of things are set inside of our system, so that your reps just won't come in here and start clicking on thousands of leads. You can say, well, each rep only gets 100 or 200, whatever amount you want to meter out to them, you can give them. And we have little messages here that show you're at 0% of your monthly maximum, and this particular user gets 1,000, which is quite a bit, but it shows you what percentage and how many you've pulled out of your 1,000 for the month. So I've selected Powerhouse. I'm going to go ahead and create a lead with it. And here's kind of the real wow moment, right, with Merchant Discovery. So I've created a merchant record with, and I'm going to come back and click in merchant. It's going to take me into the merchant page. Now let's look at this for a second. So first of all, guys, there's a couple things that you want to pay attention to, right? So in this example here, you can see that there's actually a checkbox checked that says that it's still waiting to pull in the data. So if you notice here, we only have some data populated. It takes about less than a minute or so to make sure that all the APIs have been checked and all the data has been returned. So let's back out to the main screen, to the Merchant Discovery screen, and we'll wait for a second and we'll check back in the record and see what kind of data was pulled up. Now, a couple really interesting things to point out why we're here is that you can actually, once you've mapped out all your different merchants, you can actually click on the static map, and it's going to show you a layout or kind of a grouping of where all your merchants are. Now, keep in mind, this is just the static map version, right? This isn't an interactive kind of Google Maps. We just are actually taking each address and dropping them onto the map itself so that you're actually able to see here on a static map where you're going to be spending most of your time. You can zoom in a little bit and you can see, right, that everything's near Durango here. So let's go back to this Powerhouse and let's check to make sure and see how much more data that it's pulled back in. So look, guys, the box is actually unchecked now, which means that all of our data has been pulled and that we've gotten all the information back from the API. So here's the real kind of wow moment with Merchant Discovery. So I was sitting outside of the merchant. Sitting outside the merchant location. I put in current location. It pulled up Powerhouse. I created a lead with it. And this is all the information Merchant Discovery retrieved for me. And here's the real powerful thing that you want to know about. the merchant's primary contact name. Now, this particular merchant here, we've confirmed that this actually is the owner. So, this information is accurate, guys. That's an important aspect to pay attention to, that our data sources are very, you can definitely put some confidence in them, right? That the data is accurate. And Shobit will talk a little bit about how they're going through the process of ensuring that the data is accurate and up to date. But you can see that we've populated the name, the phone number, address, right? We've told you where it came from. We've given you the billing address, the shipping address. We gave you the owner's name. We gave you the SIC code, their business address or their business hours, their status, employee count, years in business, even annual sales volume. So we give you a ton of information. So, as a sales rep, right, that myself for years, I think that this is a remarkably powerful tool. It would really change the idea of cold calling into warm calling, because now I know who I'm asking for. I know where I'm going. I can do some additional research. Maybe I'm going to go connect with Bill on LinkedIn, figure out who he is, what's going on with his business. So it really kind of changes the way that your reps and your agents are out there in the field kind of discovering new places to go and new people to call on. That this is kind of the tool that they need to do that.
And just to add to that, the page that you're seeing is actually a merchant account page in P2, which is the CRM tool that we're talking about. And all your merchants, your leads, your active opportunities, even active merchants, that's the page, that's the record page that the tool will ultimately convert a lead to. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I know the whole process of manually entering data and trying to put in information is pretty tedious. Nobody really wants to do that. We've had customers who were complaining that they gave a huge list of calls to their call center, and most of the responses they got were that, hey, the number does not work. When they tried to research a bit more, they figured out that they were trying to cut corners, the call center reps, because they were really not interested in entering a lot of data. So the tool, a merchant discovery tool, takes that tedious part of data entry out of this whole process. It's automatically now a record in P2. You can convert it to an active opportunity. You can assign it to a sales rep. You can do lots more, but you've really not, apart from the keyword and the zip code, you did not manually type in anything for this. And so that's another additional feature that P2 gives you. P2 is all about making your business processes more efficient, giving you more tools for your agents, for your sales reps, so they can not waste time getting this sort of data, doing data entry, but focus more time on selling. And then I think P2 as a tool and products like Merchant Discovery will help our customers achieve that.
Perfect, guys. Thanks, Shobit. Appreciate that. So, guys, I think you're seeing, hey, Merchant Discovery is a really great tool. It helps you discover your merchant information. Obviously, there's all sorts of uses, like Shobit maybe alluded to, discovering merchants around you. Some of our clients are using this from a management standpoint, pulling, groups of leads based on, vertical markets or cities, and then doing kind of bulk assignments to their reps. Some of our clients are letting their individual reps do these discoveries, right? So, all sorts of great options here to use this tool, right? So super powerful. Now, Merchant Discovery also kind of works in reverse. And what I mean by that is that we have a tool that we built in conjunction with Merchant Discovery that allows us to kind of discover merchant information backwards. So today, what we showed you is you're putting in a location and information, and then you're asking Merchant Discovery to pull some data for you. But we also have a button in a tool called Append Data. And what Data Append allows you to do is it basically says maybe you've already created the merchant record. Maybe you know the name of the business, the city, and the state, but that's it. You don't know anything else about the merchant. You're sitting outside the building. You want to know, hey, who's this Orhouse? What are they? Who's the owner? What should I do? So I'm going to go ahead now, and it's actually populated the information for me already, right? Because it was already there inside of P2 in the record. So what I want to do is let's go ahead and click search. Now, I'm going to go ahead and dial back out to those APIs that we were using for Merchant Discovery, and I'm going to go ahead and find, hey, is this the Orhouse that you were looking for? Oh, yeah, that's where I am. Let's go ahead and confirm. We'll click select. So here's what we've done, guys. Now, obviously, I've already created this list, or excuse me, I've already created this record from merchant discovery, so this list is pretty well filled in. But here's the additional data that it could provide when it's appending this data. Okay, so what maybe when I had entered this merchant into P2 for the first time, I only knew the name of the business, the address, and the city state. But look at what append was able to retrieve for me: phone, fax, website, right? Additional information. I already know the owner, so it didn't find any additional owner information. But this is a great tool to not only help you discover merchants, but then you can append merchant data that you already know about, kind of work the discovery of merchants both directions, discovering them fresh or adding to the data that you already know.
Which means that if you have a bunch of data that's lying dormant in your system, nobody's really looked at it because it's probably old, and you can actually now use append data to get more data about those merchants. Probably somebody did not look at it because there was not enough information. So now that excuse is out of the park because, hey, you have the append data feature. You can use that to get more data and just not use the merchant discovery tool to get new merchants, but also append data for records that already exist in your portfolio today.
Perfect. And guys, and then P2 allows you to go into these lists then once you've pulled those merchants, and you can run these list views, create these lists that allow you to see all your new merchants discovered. Well, this is the one merchant we discovered right so far this month. Powerhouse. Ty's Bike was one that we were testing on yesterday. So you can see that these are the two we've pulled for the month. So it allows you to report on the merchants that you've discovered, right? So you can not only discover them, create the records inside of P2, but now all this is reportable, trackable, and you can see all of the information and report on all the different merchants that you've discovered. So I'm going to go ahead and bring back up the PowerPoint, guys, that we have, because I think that there's some contact information as well as some pricing stuff we want to cover here. So let me bring this slide up. So Shobit's going to go ahead and kind of explain the two differences, guys. And let me back up. We've got the basic search and the enhanced search model. So Shobit will kind of break those two down for you.
So the way we've divided the product is in two segments. We call it basic search and enhanced search. The division is based on the kind of data you want. Basic is obviously limited data that you get, and as you see it on the screen, the check marks tell you what sort of data you will get with basic search. Enhanced is a deep dive into what all data you can get: business hours, name of the owner, SIC code, EIN code, number of employees. And a P2, the way the CRM works is, we have licenses that our users buy. Merchant discovery works on a similar pattern where if you need to get this product to your sales reps or agents, or even to maybe some call center reps, you would need to buy licenses from us. Right at the bottom, you can see the pricing. The basic search, the pricing for that is $15 per user per month, and it's unlimited. There is no limit on the number of records that you can pull. Enhanced is $25 per user per month, and that license, the $25 gets you a block of 100 leads. And then you can always, if you need more, you can add additional 100 leads at $25. So that's the two packages that we're talking about.